happy to kind of stay on Earth, and they didn't eat replicated food. They like cooked food like in the olden days.
Yes.
Yes,
they were old school.
Exactly. Yeah. So like
future people.
they were old school future people. So I guess they were 2019 people. I guess.
Yeah.
So I thought if this is his home, which seems to be, I can imagine like all those materials are probably like real wood and not like replicated materials. Which in the Star Trek world, that's how most people would have a home. They like get replicated materials and like build their house. In the voiceover, Picard answers the question saying many, many times. He opens up a jewelry case and his communicator is in there. And then he continues saying, nearly 2 decades ago, Commander Data sacrificed his life for me. And of course, that's a reference to the end of Star Trek Nemesis. Did you, I don't know, did you ever see that one?
No.
Yeah, it's up there with not good Star Trek movies. Which like
I've seen some various ones, but was that the last one?
Yeah, that was the last one. That was the one with Tom Hardy, and I know.
I forgot that he was in one of those, but I haven't seen that one.
I'm a Tom Hardy stan, and yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, that's right, dog.
Excuse Carol. She's just, she just got excited about Tom Hardy.
She did. I don't blame her. But both Brooke and I have dogs, everyone, so you'll probably hear both of our dogs at some point on this podcast.
And they're both named after superheroes, alter egos.
That's true. My dog is named Clark for Clark Kent. And of course, Brooke's dog
is Carol for Carol Danvers.
She smashes the patriarchy.
Yes.
So yeah, at the end of Nemesis, spoilers if you've never seen Nemesis, but again, if you haven't, I don't know why you're listening to this show.
Also, I don't care about spoilers, so
cool.
I'm fine if you do it for me.
Cool. At the end of that one, Data does die. He does die, saving Captain Picard. But we do get the introduction of another android that Dr. Sung had created. So this would be an example of the bad writing in Star Trek Nemesis. The name of the android was B4. Letter B, number 4, because he was created before Data and Lore. Yes, that is a real thing that happened in the Star Trek universe. I'm ashamed of myself.
I have to say, since we're sort of talking about Data there for a second, in my job, I have to deal with a lot of information, and we were making a report, and the guy I was working with kept saying data, and I said, well, I say data because I am a next generation child.
That's awesome. I always say data also. I never say data. I always say data. I think that's because of next generation.
Yeah.
So I do bring up Data again because not only of the voiceover, but we also have a scene here of someone opens a drawer, and in it we see disassembled pieces of an android that looks like Data. So here's where I did some research on the interwebs, and I found out that Brent Spiner has said, and you have to take this with a grain of salt, because sometimes creators have actors lie about stuff because they don't want to they don't want to have stuff out there. The Marvel the Marvel universe does it all the time, but Brent Spiner has said that he is playing Data in this show, and that the android we see in that drawer is B4, who's disassembled. Now, I know what you're thinking. You're thinking, now, wait a minute. How is it possible that it's Data, because he is, dead? So here's another thing I found, and I don't know how this show will reconcile all of this canonical stuff, but back in 2009, There was a graphic novel that was released, and it is canon.
Oh.
Graphic novel is called Star Trek Countdown. Actually, all the comics, there's a lot of comics running even now with like Star Trek. They're all canon. So they're supposed to be all canon in the Star Trek universe. According to Star Trek Countdown, which came down in 2009, before Data died, he transferred most of his memories into B4. And eventually, over time, Data's personality overtook B4's personality so that he became Lieutenant Commander Data again.
Okay.
In a new body, basically. And Starfleet reinstated him as Data. Now, that's in 2009. That's 10 years ago.
Right.
I don't know if this show is going to throw that canon out the window. Or I've also seen fans online saying maybe the scenes with Data in this trailer are a holodeck simulation.
Oh.
So,
like them playing cards and such.
Yeah. At the end of the trailer, we see we have a scene of Picard playing cards with Data. There are fans who are saying that that's a holodeck simulation, which, I mean, it's possible. It's kind of hard for me to reconcile how that all works out with the canon that's already been established, but it seems like this show might just be throwing away some canon and starting over again.
Okay.
So, I mean, not the first time. I mean, Star Wars did that too. Like when they, when Disney took over, they like threw out all of the books that were canon and said they don't count anymore.
Most of the books.
Okay.
Not all of them.
Oh, I stand corrected. I bow to your superior knowledge.
And then they
Star
took
Wars.
Bits and pieces from the ones that they threw out and used them. But there were some that weren't any good. There was no reason to keep. But
good point. Anyway, so yeah, that's the whole thing with like Data and B4. I don't know what we're gonna see.
Maybe they'll just retcon that movie.
You know, they might retcon the movie. I guess they could. A lot of that movie, there's elements of really good stuff in that movie, and then, like, you think Tom Hardy, how could you have a shitty movie with Tom Hardy? But it happened. Yeah.
Question, was his face covered? Because he's in a lot of movies where his face is covered.
No, but his head he was bald.
Oh.
I don't know if he, like, actually shaved his head or if he wore, like, a... What do they call? What do they call those things?
Bald cap?
A bald? Is that what it's called? I don't even know. Bald cap. I'm like, what is that called? Yeah, like I don't know if he actually shaved his head or if he just they had him in a bald cap, but he was bald for that movie. And again, since you don't care about spoilers, he was supposed to be playing a clone of Captain Picard.
Oh,
that the Romulans made. So.
Oh, okay.
I know.
Okay.
I mean, the movie's worth watching just to kind of connect the dots from that movie to this, but beyond that, it's not a very good movie.
Right. Okay.
Okay. So, then we hear Picard again saying, "These past few years, I really tried to belong here." And we see him like walking in his fields, and he has his dog. Mm-hmm. We're all very excited about the dog. Mm-hmm. And he's looking up at the night sky full of stars, and he says, "But it never truly felt like home." So we sort of are seeing Picard here like struggling with trying to stay grounded on Earth, but still being like having that explorer spirit to go back to the stars. Mm-hmm. And I think like he's supposed to, I mean, he's retired from Starfleet, so it's not like he has a reason per se to go up there, but
so he's wearing,
sorry,
where does it start? Like when it shows him and he's wearing what looks sort of like the Starfleet uniform, but it's black or black and gray instead of like black and a color or whatever. Like, is that supposed to be the retired uniform?
It's so weird. Like his civilian clothes look like his Starfleet uniform.
Because when he talks, jumping ahead for a second, when he talks to the admiral later, like I think hers looks like his, right?
Yeah,
or was it just?
Mm-hmm. No, he's wearing like, I think they're meant to be civilian clothes.
Okay.
But they look like his uniform.
Okay, yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was a little
no, you are totally right. Like, those are meant to be civilian clothes. That's what I'm gathering. They're meant to be civilian clothes because he's not wearing his communicator in a lot of the scenes. He's wearing he's wearing like an insignia for the Picard house like for Chateau Picard. So,
I love that you're calling it Chateau Picard.
It's a real thing though. Like, you could buy.
Is that what they called it?
Yeah.
I mean, I guess if they're French or whatever.
Yeah, it's so you haven't watched Discovery, but in Discovery, in I think the first episode, there is an Easter egg where Captain Georgiou, played by Michelle Yeoh, in her I know, I love her. In her ready room, she has a bottle of wine, and it's from Chateau Picard.
I love it.
Yeah, so
that's
like
awesome.
His family has been making wine for like generations, basically, and
but like making real wine, not replicated wine.
No, exactly. Like, they're making actual wine from real grapes that they've grown out of the ground, and not like replicated wine. So it's and again, you know, Star Trek was always really good at that. Like, oh, all this technology, but there's still people who are clinging to the old ways because it's like it's so satisfying and all that. So yeah, they make actual wine from like real grapes that they grow.
Yeah, nice.
So we have a scene of a hooded woman who's walking in the rain, and this is I hope I don't mispronounce her name, Issa Briones. Her character's name is Daj, and she is walking down the street. There's a building on the corner, and there's like, it's all glass, and people are gathered. Like, there's two people watching on the glass. There's like a projection. It's almost like a newscast, it looks like, and it's Captain Picard. So I'm not sure what this is, if it's like if they're watching, like, I don't know, like a documentary about his life, or if he did an interview or something, but they're like watching like this broadcast on this corner, and she is kind of walking down the street, which might be how she kind of sees him and connects that she has to go find him. Anyway, we get a scene of, looks like her on his farm. She's got a big gash in her head, and we hear her voice saying, "Do you know who I am? Everything inside of me says that I am safe with you." So this appears to be obviously their first meeting. They don't know each other at all. We get a shot of Picard going to what looks like Starfleet headquarters. He's meeting with the Admiral, and this is the scene that you were just talking about. And he says, "Admiral, I have encountered a woman. She came to me for help." And then we kind of get some like interspersed scenes of like somebody back on the farm shooting a weapon. Dash is running around on a roof. So it looks like this is going to be like a pretty stunt heavy show. Because we get a scene in a bit of her fighting on the stairs.
Yeah.
And she looks like she's kicking ass.
Right?
Yeah. So then Picard says, if she is who I think she is, she's in serious danger. So this is probably like the biggest point of not contention, but like all the fans are talking on that line of who she is. And I think the biggest consensus that most fans believe is that she is Hugh's daughter.
Oh.
Yeah. Do you remember Hugh from Next Generation?
Yeah.
So that actor is in this show as well, reprising his role as Hugh.
All right.
So most of the Star Trek fans believe that she is Hugh's daughter.
Okay.
Not all of us. Some of us think differently, but I'm in the camp that she is Hugh's daughter. Or
I
somehow...
think she's Obi-Wan Kenobi's daughter.
She's Obi-Wan Kenobi's daughter. Maybe,
I made like a note about Rey? Question mark.
Maybe she's a Skywalker. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe she's a wizard, Harry. I have no idea.
She's the heir of Slytherin.